but don't struggle so much. Just let go. Let's talk about letting go today, huh? And letting go is very important because when you talk about the fundamental forces of life, you talk about birth, and birth is an event which you had little to no control over. You were just brought into this world without your consent, without your knowledge, without your awareness, and you were just born as a baby. And when you leave, you can't, if you want to live forever, you can't, right? You have to die. So these are incredible forces which are totally outside of our control. And then comes the ego, which is the ego is the governing force of action and desire. And what do we do in this life? We either do something selfishly or selflessly, but technically everything is selfishly, just not with that negative connotation, right? Even if we do something for others, we do it to feel good ourselves. So everything is self-motivated, everything is motivated from the ego. And so you have these forces of birth and death, and in between you have the experience of life through the senses, and you have the experience of life through the ego, through the identification with matter and the decisions and actions that come along with that. So when you look at the spectacle of life and you talk about letting go, you have to understand that before we were born, there was no decision, there was no actions. As soon as we were born, then decisions and actions are taken based on our surroundings and circumstances, and our people who taught us, our teachers, who are our parents, our school teachers, our grandparents, people who influence on our lives, and that forms our decisions. So when we talk about letting go, the thing is, the ego of the human, the individual, is incredibly diluted in the sense that it tries to, the ego basically puts itself at the center of the universe. The ego says everything revolves around me. That's the way the human being functions. The human being is sort of captured in this physical body, this physical being, right? You operate through the senses, no life experience, right? If you have no sense experiences, then there's nothing for the brain to process. There's no information to process. There's no experience. So you need the sense information to make decisions and to experience life. Yeah, so when we talk about letting go, it's basically not trying to control things so much, because life is flowing in ways much bigger than the ego can comprehend, but yet the ego puts itself at the center of the world. Yes, we are kings of our own life. Yes, we are very powerful beings. Yes, we are incredible spectacles of creation. That's all true. But when we start to control life and we expect life to go our way, that is the most diluted thing in the world. We should expect everything to go nature's way, expect everything to go whatever way it goes. And whatever happens, that's right, because that's what nature says, right? Nature created us, so nature must be right. We don't like earthquakes, we don't like typhoons, we don't like tsunamis, we don't like loss, life, and death. We don't like death, we don't like um, bad tasting food. We don't like getting in a car crash. We don't like all those things. We don't like those things because they hurt us. We don't like things that hurt us. But who are we to decide in this world of duality what we like and what we don't like? We can dislike it, but it's just going to hurt us even more. Once we let go and we accept the things of life as for the way they are and say, okay, um, you know, this is just the way it is, and I got to accept that, then it's much more peaceful. It's much more you're flowing with life. And in these times, there's a lot of distractions, there's a lot of negativity, there's a lot of media manipulation, there's a lot of noise outside in the world. There's a lot of noise. If you're off the internet, if you're off the TV, if you're off the phone, then there's a lot less noise. But if you're on these screens, and there's a lot of noise. So depending on what you put on, you kind of have to just accept whatever is going on in life, because what is good and evil? You know what I mean? I mean, yes, we have evil actions. Yes, we have terrible things that happen in the world. And yes, we have amazing things that happen in the world. But everything is very transitory. Everything is changing. Our attention is changing. What the terrible event that happened 3 or 4 years ago doesn't hold the same emotion in our hearts today. It's just a distant memory, and we hardly care for it like we did when we were watching TV 3 or 4 years ago. Everything is changing. So therefore, in the moment when we are overwhelmed with emotion, when we are moving towards decisions which we might not take, we got to step back and say, okay, are these the right decisions? Because in these highly emotional states, especially those of anger, jealousy, rage, depression, those negative states, our decision making is very clouded. When we're calm and relaxed, then our decision making is very good. So we have to get in a relaxed state of mind, and that comes by letting go and leaving things to nature, because nature is going to do it whether you like it or not. Nature came this far without us. Nature has existed for far longer than humans. It's not even close. So we have to follow nature. We have to respect and understand what nature is, and we have to listen to nature, right? Everybody's upset with COVID. Nobody wants to, I mean, for some people are seeing glass half full, which is, a blessing. But for those who are getting upset with COVID, including myself at times, but those who are getting upset with COVID and blaming external circumstances, why are we blaming anybody, or why are we blaming anything? This is nature, nature's reaction, whether it was man-made in a lab or whatever. It's nature. Humans are part of nature, right? It's not human versus nature. It's human and nature. So, we have to just take a step back and let go when we are in these circumstances of change. When we're in these periods of change, we have to let go. And if we don't let go, then we're just going to struggle. We're just going to suffer and struggle and always be victim to the circumstances, which you don't want. You want to be sort of respectful and reverence and have reverence for this mystical force of nature. Being a human being and living in this earth is a mystery. It's a mystical. We think of it as normal because in our heads, in our egos, the world revolves around us. So we don't perceive this to be incredible anyway, but it's absolutely mind-boggling. It's absolutely a magical act. It's a mystery. It's an incredible thing that has happened in human life. The ability to perceive nature. Animals can't perceive like the way we do. Plants can't perceive the way we do. Oceans can't perceive the way that we do. Buildings can't perceive. Nothing. Clouds can't perceive. Humans can perceive the experience in mystical, amazing ways. So no matter what the circumstance, man, a bad job, a tough relationship, physical injury, an emotional injury, a loss of wealth, death in the family, losing a tournament or losing something very important to you, failing. All these things, you got to be respectful of life, I think. So when these things happen, when these things don't go our way, we need to stop being the center of the universe in our heads and just take a step back and remember nature, remember who we are, remember that we are a part of nature. It's just facts. We are a part of nature. We're not genetically engineered beings. We were created by nature through evolution. So we need to take a step back and just recognize what's going on here. It's just nature doing what nature needs to do. It's not about I did this and I couldn't have done this. I could have done that. I couldn't have done that. I mean, even our actions are controlled by nature, are they not? We're on this little earth, going around the sun, going around in the galaxy. Like, how the hell do we know what we're doing is right or wrong? We're just making it up. Who knows, man? So, when things go our way, when we say we could have done this decision, I didn't put any effort in, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I could have done this could have happened this way, I could have saved this person, I could have not lost this money, or whatever the case may be. I mean, who's to say that you would have made that decision? Who's to say that was even a possibility? It turned out the way it turned out. So it's foolish to think you can control everything. It's ridiculously foolish. Like, you can't. Like, you couldn't control your birth and you can't control your death. So how the hell are you going to control anything? You can put in effort and you can try to make things. You can try to do things, for sure. You can try. You can put in a lot of effort. But you can't. You can control where the seed lands, but you can't change what kind of tree it's going to be. And I took that from Kung Fu Panda. But yeah, you can control where the seed lands in the soil. You can control where it lands. You can control when it lands. You can control how it lands. But you can't change the fact that the tree is going to be whatever tree that seed is from. So today's topic was letting go, and letting go is incredibly important in life, because if you don't let go, then you're just rigidly holding on. You're trying to hold water through your hands. It's gonna flow out. Like you can cup a little bit in your hands, but it's trying to hold water through your fingers. You're just gonna slip through. How are you gonna control life? How are you gonna hold life? It's just going. How do you know what you're doing is even your choice, your thoughts, your? How do you know what you're doing is you? You've been influenced by your parents, your society, your teachers, the media. You've been influenced since your childhood. So who are you to say I'm making these decisions or I'm not making these decisions? And who are you to control life? I'm not saying this to put anybody down or to make you feel like less than human. I'm just saying that humility is a very strong virtue. Humility is actually strength. Arrogance is not strength. Ego is not strength. Humility is strength. When you're able to step back and say, I'm just a little part of nature, which is the truth. You're not the center of the universe. When you just say, I'm just a little part of nature, isn't that the most freeing thing in the world? What responsibilities do you have? I mean, sure, you may not be in the situations that you want. Sure, you may not be in the circumstances but you want. But you're just flowing. You're just flowing down the river. You're not fighting up the rapids trying to grab onto a rock. You're just flowing with the river. So my advice is, like, if life isn't going the way you want it to go, maybe question why you would want it to be different. If you're in a period of suffering or struggling, look at why that's happening, maybe, and see what's going on. Just take a step back and see what's going on. What is going on with you? Why is this happening? What is the suffering causing? Where is it heading? Where is it going? Just try to look at it in a different way. Don't react to it too strongly, because it's just nature. It's just nature. It's just nature. Nature has a beautiful blossom trees, and it also has volcanic eruptions. It has amazing, beautiful animals, and it also has, tigers killing a deer, a tiger killing a deer, or, well, and mosquitoes going in your ear. Nature has mosquitoes going in your ear. That's not very nice, is it? But it's nature. Doesn't mean you can't react to it. You can react to it, but don't let it overwhelm you and just dominate your life and your emotions, because then you're just going to carry that forward. That emotion is stored in you, man. That emotion gets stored in you as memory. So don't be holding on to things too strongly, because then you're just going to get hurt. So, oh my god, beautiful pink clouds, man. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, man, today's talk, I love talking to the camera. Today was an incredible, I'm going to do a little bit of reflection here at the end. Today was an incredible breakthrough. Today's generally a good day for me, but man, it was just flowing out. The thoughts were just flowing. No resistance, hardly any resistance, hardly any restrictions. The thoughts were just flowing out and just calmly coming out. It was just coming out, and it was just incredible just to see the thoughts flowing in succession today. It hardly actually ever works this way, but it's good to see that it's possible, for just to do a completely uncut thing where you're just, speaking on a topic and making sense and connecting things together without too many gaps or awkward pauses, and speaking with passion, which I think I did just now. So, incredible experience, breakthrough. I loved speaking to the camera, man. I love talking to the camera. I love making these videos. I love sharing with you guys my experience and stuff that I've learned along my journey so far. I love sharing this stuff because I know a lot of people in the world are struggling through, different things, addictions, loss of family, loss of wealth, homelessness, uh, mental illnesses, all kinds of things, man, people are struggling with. So physical ailments, the list can go on forever. So I'd like to share these things because, in my life I've had to overcome many hardships as well. So you just want to reflect from that experience and share it with others. so that others can hopefully gain some benefit from it. So that's it for today. Breakthrough moment. I love making videos. I'm going to keep making videos. Peace.